Feels like it's been a while since Wilds of Eldraine, but it's actually only been like a couple of months, yet here we are with spoiler season for Lost Caverns of Ixalan, a set that I personally am very excited for, not just for the incredible reprints of Mana Crypt and Cavern of Souls, or the Jurassic Park inclusion with Universes Beyond, but because I think this set's bringing back a lot of really cool mechanics and fun cards, and I'm excited to go into them. So let's jump into the video. Thanks everybody for being here, and thank you for making Loveshack your source for all spoiler season things and things Magic the Gathering in general. Very much appreciate the support. Try to keep up with the releases as quickly as I can. There will be new videos all week long, so stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, you can go ahead and click that subscribe button, like the video, and if you click that bell icon to stay notified, you'll get noticed whenever new videos come up, and you can check out all the new spoilers as quickly as I can churn them out. So, we're going to jump right into this video, though, and there will likely be a second video today, because there are still plenty more spoilers. Some of these were actually revealed a couple weeks back. I just kind of waited to make a video with other stuff that needed to be covered. But we'll take a quick look first at the basic lands for the set, and I have to say, these are really, really cool. They're probably one of my favorite land cycle, well, not land cycles, but like basic land designs. Honestly, going back to like maybe the Kamigawa lands, but even then, I think these are gorgeous. I can't wait to actually see them in person, but they're really, really cool. I like them all very much, and I'm hoping to get, you know, at least a good set of each to be able to use. So yeah, hopefully those basic lands are a hit with a lot of people because they are freaking gorgeous from an art perspective. But lands are lands, and you can, of course, get the regular ones for nothing. And so let's talk about the cards, because that's what people are going to be here to see. We've got Ojer, Axonil, Deepest Might. I probably botched that name so bad. I do apologize for that. It is a legendary creature god that costs 2 red with trample. If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than its power to an opponent, that source deals damage equal to Axonil's power instead. When Ojer Axonil dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed in its owner's control. Now, we'll talk just a second about its transformation side, but this is actually pretty cool because red is a very powerful deck, especially in standard, but across the board. You can combo this really well with cards like Play with Fire, and even cards like Soulfiend Mayhem Dominus, which is another card that's pretty darn good in a lot of red decks to like make Play with Fire hit for at least 4 and then triple that damage. If you start to find ways to stack this guy up, you can just turn your low-cost ping spells into massive damage, which is a really cool interaction, and there's definitely a lot to like about it. Plus, this artwork is just unbelievable. Really, really great showcase frame here. I think Ixalan is probably one of my favorite planes just because of like the pirates, merfolks, treasure, like everything that goes along with it is really fun thematically. This transforms into Temple of Power. I'm so glad they're bringing these back as well, these like map land transformations, I guess. It can tap for red, or you can pay 2 in a red and tap, transform it, activate only if red sources you control dealt 4 or more non-combat damage this turn, and only as a sorcery. So essentially, when he dies, you bring him back as a land, and then you can turn it back into a creature later if you're able to deal damage, which is not hard to do at all with red, especially in mono red. I do think this card's going to have a big impact in standard, just based on the fact that like mono red is already a powerful deck there, and there are a lot of cards that can utilize it well. The Skullspore Nexus. This is a really cool art style. I think there's a regular style as well, but this like the showcase frame or the booster fund that they chose for this, I just think is a really, really unique approach. And I like it a lot, even if it is kind of hard to tell entirely what's going on, but I think that kind of adds to the appeal. It is 6 green legendary artifact. It costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control dies, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power and toughness equal each to the total power of those creatures. So it looks like you're basically creating 1 token, I think? I'm reading this like live as we go through. Whenever one or more non-token creature you control die, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power and toughness, each equal to the total. Yeah, okay. So you only get 1 token, but it's equal to the total power of all the creatures that died to trigger it, which is pretty freaking cool. Because if you get board wiped or something, or even have ways to maybe get some of your other creatures off the board, you can make some big tokens that can do a lot. And then this can pay 2 and tap, double target creature's power until end of turn. A lot going on here, and in big, you know, stompy green decks or dinos in general, you can bring this out a lot cheaper and not only have the ability to replace your creatures, but swing for massive damage if you can find ways to utilize it. No wonder this is a mythic. I do think this is a really, really good card, though, and is definitely going to have a place in, I think, multiple formats, just looking at how effectively you can kind of use this to do so many different things. Breeches, Eager Pillager. Breeches is back, and he's better now than he was last time, I think. He's 2 and a red, legendary creature, Goblin Pirate. First strike, whenever a pirate you control attacks, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Create a treasure token, target creature can't block this turn, or exile the top card of your library, you may play it this turn. So a lot of the more powerfully common red effects that they like to slap onto stuff. But certainly a nice upgrade for Breeches, because this is a 3-drop with first strike that can kind of do stuff in Standard and Pioneer, but also in Commander, I think, in Pirate Tribal, which probably is still going to be better with like a different commander, simply because you have access to more color options. But this is just a really cool card, and it's nice to see Breeches get a little bit of a glow up, because, yeah, he's definitely got a lot going on here. Kellen, Daring Traveler, a new adventure card in the set. This is 1 and a white for its creature side, which says, whenever it attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it is a creature with mana value 3 or less, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. And then it has Journey On, which says create X map tokens, where X is 1 plus the number of opponents who control an artifact. So, not a bad card overall. If you're curious about the map tokens, as I was, you can pay 1 and sacrifice it. Target creature you control explores. Activate only as a sorcery. In order to explore, you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, it goes into your hand. Otherwise, you put a +1/+1 counter on the exploring creature. I think this is not a new mechanic. I'm pretty sure the explorers mechanic has been a thing before, but I don't know that for sure off the top of my head, so I may be wrong. But either way, not terrible, obviously, being able to get some extra token generation there. It's a neat card, though, and being a white-green option that is a legendary creature, it certainly looks like it does have some commander appeal, so it's got that going for it, too. Now, the Mycotyrant is 1 green-black. This is a really, really cool card. I can already tell I read this one quite a bit, but we'll go over it here. Trample, its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi and or saplings. At the beginning of your end step, create X/1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block, where X is the number of times you've descended this turn. And you descend each time a permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere. So this is actually really, really cool. Descend, I believe, is a new mechanic. Obviously, you know, we have Ascend, where you, like, gain the city's blessing, and then there's this Descend here. This feels pretty strong, especially if you're able to, like, mill a lot, which some of the fungus-based, you know, strategies do. You can kind of mill, and then you get a bunch of tokens, and then this gets more powerful. Of course, the tokens cannot block, but that does not mean you're not just going to have an overwhelming swarm of things, which will, in turn, buff this guy up. This screams Commander to me, just in terms of like where he'll best be utilized, but he might have some application in Standard as well. Either way, I like this one a lot. It's definitely one of my favorites so far. Breeches got a glow up, and so did Malcolm. Malcolm Alluring Scoundrel is 1 and a blue legendary Siren Pirate with flash and flying. Whenever Malcolm deals combat damage to a player, put a chorus counter on it. Draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 4 or more chorus counters on Malcolm, you may cast the discarded card without paying its mana cost. So I do think Malcolm got the better glow up of the two, but I think both are pretty good. This can be absolutely insane, especially if you can like proliferate the counters or find ways to accelerate this more, giving it the ability to attack multiple times. But if you can get that going and then start dealing the combat damage, you can free cast stuff. I mean, there's no limit to the amount of insane combos you can kind of cheese onto the board with this. Just a really, really good card. The opponent's probably not going to want to let this live long enough to let that effect start going off. Plus, the hand fixing is nice too. And finally, for this first video, we've got Quintorius canned. We knew there was going to be 1 Planeswalker in this set. Looks like Quintorius got a spark after March of the Machine Aftermath, so happy to see him getting a Planeswalker here. Of course, it is 3 red-white legendary Planeswalker Quintorius. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, Quintorius canned deals 2 damage to each opponent, and you gain 2 life. You can +1 it to create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. You can -3 to discover 4, and you can -6 to exile any number of target cards from your graveyard, then add red mana for each card exiled this way. You may play those cards this turn. So this is a pretty cool card. There's a lot of going for him here, especially that last ability. If you kind of banish a bunch of low-cost stuff and then start to play them off from exile, you keep pinging the opponents. In low-cost mono-red, or not mono-red, but in low-cost red, or even, hell, even if you're playing like some red-white, white has some lower-cost cards too, but I think you're going to get the most value out of this with a lot of the red spells. Either way, though, that last effect can be pretty powerful, and the Discover 4 is definitely not bad. Plus token generation is solid enough, but that little added effect there, it's going to combo pretty well with, you know, adventure stuff, foretell stuff. There's probably a lot of different ways you could take this strategy. So definitely a cool Planeswalker, and nice to see Quintorius getting some love in the set. So that's going to do it for this first video, guys. There will be a lot more coming. I have a lot more stuff to go through and edit, render, and get some, you know, research on, and then I'll post another video. But let me know what you guys think so far of the first slate of reveals for Lost Caverns of Ixalan in the comments down below, and thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.